Gran Turismo 7 brings 3 to 4 new cars to the game almost every month, but one thing I wonder is, why are most of these cars old? Well, in this video we will see if the game really features a lot of old cars, and if so, what is the reason for this? Look, I'm going to show that the player benefits most from this. Before we get to the reason, let's understand if the game really features a lot of old cars. Until March's update 1.44, 73 new cars arrived in the game. Of these 73, 25 are cars manufactured from 2020 onwards, which is 31%, that is, a third. However, of these 25 cars, 10 of them are Gran Turismo Visions, so of recent cars there are only 15 models, which is 20% of cars from this decade. One interesting fact is that of all these cars, 42% of them are Japanese and, incredibly, 10% are Porsches, this being the brand that contributed most to the updates. Some say that these numbers are impressive, but what if we compare them to another racing game franchise? Gran Turismo's direct competitor would be Forza Motorsport, but the game was recently released, so in this video I will compare it with Forza Horizon 5. Despite being an arcade game, we are talking about released cars, not the game style. I looked for the last 73 cars released in the Xbox game, and the curiosity starts there. While Gran Turismo 7 took 2 years to bring 73 new vehicles, Forza Horizon 5 did the same number in just 6 months. Forza brings an absurd number of cars per month, and I think there is an explanation for this. Even so, we have to analyze the quality, because any game has a lot of cars. So let's compare. While Gran Turismo brought 20% of cars produced from 2020, Forza Horizon added 37% of new cars to its game. When we analyze cars produced from the year 2000 onwards, interestingly, the values are almost similar. We get 60% for Gran Turismo and 65% for Forza Horizon. These numbers show that while Forza features a multitude of cars from the current decade, Gran Turismo focuses more on cars from the 2000s and 2010s. So we can say that Gran Turismo, yes, features a lot of older cars and at least compared to Forza Horizon, but then another question arises, why does this happen? The question is simple, but at the same time it is complex, and this has to do with car licenses. I've already made a full video explaining how car licenses work. I'll leave a card here in the link in the description. I recommend you watch it to understand better. As everyone knows, developers need to pay the rights to be able to use these cars in games, what we call usage licenses. The money that comes from licenses comes from two basic sources. The first revenue comes from the sale of games. In this case we could add the sales of Gran Turismo Sport and Gran Turismo 7. The second revenue comes from paid content within games, which we also know as microtransactions. There is also a third source, which is an investment by a large company in a partner developer. This happens both with Polyphony, which is a subsidiary of Sony, as well as Turn 10, which belongs to Microsoft, or, going further, we have Ivory Tower, which develops the Crew Motorfest for Ubisoft. All money from sales, microtransactions and investment is used not only to pay salaries and infrastructure, but also to license cars, tracks, and music for the games. In the past, when a game was launched, revenue came only from the sale of games. Let's imagine the time when Gran Turismo 2 was released. All the revenue that came to Polyphony came only from sales of the game and was used for the next game, in this case Gran Turismo 3. Today things are more complex, as games, especially racing games, became live service. Gran Turismo 7 will only die when updates stop coming. As long as the game continues to bring content, more people will continue to play. At the same time, other people, who have not yet purchased Gran Turismo, feel the need to purchase it when they see that the game always has content. The big problem is that these monthly updates have very high costs because you always need to bring more things to the game, especially more cars. For this reason you also need to buy more licenses, and the big difference between Gran Turismo and Forza is how they release their content. While Gran Turismo bravely brings free updates, Forza, more specifically, Forza Horizon brings free updates, but with paid content. To give you an idea, of the last 73 cars released, 21 of them came within Car Pass, that is, almost 30% of the game's new cars needed to be purchased with real money. This content, together with expansions and the purchase of vouchers, in addition to the sale of the game itself, already generates enough money to spend on licensing numerous cars, including new cars, which are more expensive. Gran Turismo has a microtransaction system, but it is limited to just selling credits, which I believe few players use, since the game, after several complaints, started rewarding better in races and events. This creates a problem in which the revenue coming into Polyphony is much lower than that of the competitor, so it is necessary to choose which cars will be licensed much better. This creates the need to choose older, cheaper, and even more accessible cars. You need to remember that the cost is not just licensing. The developer needs to capture the sound of the vehicle, scan it completely, among other things. It is necessary to find versions of these vehicles close to where the developers are, which is why Polyphony gives more preference to Japanese cars. This is also made easier by the partnerships they have with Japanese factories. Perhaps this also explains the high number of Porsches coming in updates, as apparently the German brand must charge much cheaper for licenses than other brands, such as Bentley, Ferrari, or Aston Martin. At some point there should be some paid content, just like that special update from Lewis Hamilton to Gran Turismo Sport. This could give more financial impetus, in addition to the money that Sony injects into the game. Games like Gran Turismo and Forza are important exclusives for gaming giants, as they, among other games, are great tools for the subscription system. Someone watching this video is probably already subscribed to PSN Plus just to play Gran Turismo online. The same can be said about Game Pass. Many people even subscribe to the Game Pass to be able to play Forza Horizon or Forza Motorsport. This is perhaps the greatest importance that these games have for these companies, and they certainly inject money so that these games stay alive and make more money. The difference here is that Microsoft has a lot more money to spend than Sony, even though it is the market leader. This makes a difference in the content that reaches the consumer, but no Gran Turismo player can complain that they only managed to purchase a car by paying, as all of its content is free. Even though we bring a lot fewer cars and older cars, the honor still stands out. Everything in life has a cost, and this is the price that Gran Turismo pays to bring free content to its players. Tell us in the comments if you prefer free updates with a few cars or if you think it's better for them to launch a lot more cars, but having to pay for it. For more free cars, like this video, subscribe to the channel. See you next time, bye.